So who we have today? We have Laura Bouziane. She's certified mindfulness and meditation teacher. I license physical therapist professional and a devoted grandmother who helps individual distress, unwind, and relax using a variety of guided meditation techniques. Drawing from over 30 years of personal meditation practice and inner exploration, Laura passionately, I cannot talk today, I'm so sorry. Patiently coaches and encourages students to use breath work, Tai Chi, and Reiki practices and principles. Laura is experienced group facilitator and energy worker who volunteers for several charitable or self-helping organizations. In October 2019, she was part of the staff at a self-care retreat in Tuscany, Italy. That probably was so awesome.
Yes, that was wonderful.
She's originally from South California, but currently resides in southern Utah, where she frequently hikes the Red Mountains with, and I will try to pronounce that, even with my accent,
Raja.
and Stardart Poodle. So tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, since we ended with the poodle, we'll start there. I have a standard poodle. His name is Raja. He's a wonderful companion. And we do hike a lot, the Red Mountains, as you can see behind me. So I do live here in southern Utah, which is a very, very visually stunning place. I am from Southern California originally, which is also beautiful, but truly nothing can compare to this view. So I wanted to share that with everyone today. That's why I'm sitting outside here. So it also is a source of amazing energy, this mountain. It's been described, this area has been described as a little Sedona. So if you're familiar at all with Sedona, Arizona, many people go there for spiritual retreats and for meditation and so on. So this area is called the Little Sedona. So, and yes, so I'm a Reiki master. I've been practicing Reiki for over 30 years, as well as practicing meditation for over 30 years. So I have a bit of experience under my belt.
Yeah, that's, I noticed that I'm getting connected to people, and the universe bringing people to me, because that's how my experience started like 20 years ago. It was with Reiki. I was trying to find a different, meditation, different, it was mostly a music. What I tried to find a music that calms me, and Zen music wasn't exactly for me, and the Reiki music, that's what's kind of started for me. And that was that I'm a sensitive person, so when I listen to guided meditation, I need to have that perfect pitch of the voice, and because otherwise that energy kind of not going. The same with the meditation, and I love doing my meditation with music for some reason. But it needs to be that perfectly combined and aligning music with my soul. So
yes, I understand completely. I think it's different for everyone in terms of that sound and that vibration. But there are many times when I turn on a guided meditation, and after a few minutes I turn it off because the voice just doesn't work for me. It doesn't resonate for me, no matter how beautiful the message is that they're saying. Particularly if I'm doing it before sleep, it has to be just the right frequency. And for me, oddly, what works is the Australian accent. So
yes, exactly. Like one of my favorite is Jason Stevenson.
Stevenson, yes.
I really like him, and I started listening to him like nobody even know about him. He have just few views on YouTube, and here you go, But yeah, he's a beautiful soul as well. So
Yeah.
good
I've
things.
never met him, but yes, yes, yes. But also, my voice, people do say, is hypnotic when I do the guided meditation. So who's ever listening, That's for you to decide if it resonates for you. I certainly hope it does.
Yes, and that's why also I do that. Let's talk about meditation because, like, not every music, not every guidance suits everybody. So I want people to just don't stop on one technique or just one person who guide them, just to explore. Because in today's world, there is no borders anymore. We have internet, we can do so much, and we can connect, with that person that's calling us, and that's the
Yes,
beauty of it.
we can all find each other now much easier.
Yes. Even for the beginning, I was kind of disconnected for online, but as I do more online, I still feel the energy.
Hmm. Yes, well, I like it better in person, but hey,
Yeah.
we've got Zoom, so it's
Yeah.
good.
It is adjustment, but
It
all
is.
depends, I think what we want to achieve, how we want to follow our flow. I think that online, yeah, maybe it's not as personal. It is hard to feel somebody's energy, across the ocean, but many times by conversation we can fulfill that void of
Yes,
in-person contact, so it's still doable.
absolutely, absolutely. And here we are. So
Yeah. And we never know who in Utah will watch it as well, who is in search and they don't exactly know what they're searching for, and then they meet you, and here we go, there is that positive click.
yes, absolutely. So this area, as you may know, is uh, there's one religion that kind of dominates Utah, and so meditation and spirituality is a bit of a different introduction and a bit of a different practice for people. So I wasn't really sure how my classes would be received when I first went to the university here. I teach through the community education through Dixie State University, which is the local university, and I teach an introduction to meditation class in every spring and every fall. And it was well received by the people who organized the classes, but I wasn't sure if I would get any students, because, as I said, it's a bit of a foreign concept. So, but it has worked out well. I've been doing it for about the past 4 years, as I said, every spring and every fall. And sometimes I have 6 people, sometimes I have 20. So you just never know. But even the few, as you say, there's a few people that it will really connect with, and that's all I need. It makes it really worthwhile, and I get a lot. I receive also from teaching a lot. So,
And I can rely with you because I reside in northern Kentucky. So it's
hmm,
kind of the same pattern, but I'm 20 minutes from Cincinnati, Ohio.
okay,
Right across the border, I can have 20 people.
yeah,
Here, their perceived meditation a little bit different, and it's kind of considered. I don't know. I always laugh. It's like it's not a voodoo practice, It's like,
yes, yes, yes.
yeah, but
Well,
it's growing. I think it's more
yeah,
research. People, hear more about it. So there is few interests, here and there. It's people approaching to me in northern Kentucky, and it's like, hey, can I learn a little bit more? Can that help my anxiety? Can that help, with that or
hmm,
different, issues? And we start
yes,
working. So quantity is not always the reason why I teach. Sometimes, mostly is that quality and who I can help, who I see is help, that practice is helping. So
absolutely. So, I don't know if you wanted to ask me a question or not, but there's something else I'd like to jump off of that you just said. One of my passions, really, because my background is in the medical field, I was a licensed physical therapy professional for many, many years. So I love that meditation is being scientifically studied now, and the benefits are being documented. Reducing anxiety, reducing blood pressure, helping people to sleep better, just helping people to feel more connected in general. These are actual benefits that are being documented by studies. That there's so many studies actually that are being done, and I just think it's fantastic because when I first started meditating, in the early 1980s in Los Angeles area, there was a big community of people, but only right there in Los Angeles. Like my family, who was in a different state, thought I had gone off the deep end. And a lot of people, as you say, thought it was woo woo or voodoo or just they just did not get it. And it's been so fabulous for me on my journey and throughout my life to see how what used to be considered such a strange practice now is being taught in hospitals,
Yes.
and every magazine that you pick up that talks about decreasing anxiety or how to improve your happiness always mentions meditation. And
Yeah, I
so it's just
remember.
like, hey.
And yeah, that's so. I remember I even mentioned if somebody who watched today and listened to my podcast, I have one of the guests and was from Poland as well, and we was talking about because we kind of start about the same age with the meditation. Even he had um, his father was highly into meditation, so he have a little bit
Mm.
better idea. But and I think I talked with Ian about that too. Uh, Mine start like I wanted to go to yoga, and they start, offering yoga in a small town in Poland where I'm from. And I remember my sister wanna go, and I'm of course as a younger sister, you know, wanna
Oh,
I want to go too. And I remember like today my mom say like, no, that thing will mess up your brain. You're not going, guys. You know what I mean? And funny thing is, almost 30 years later, my sister is a yoga teacher and
that's
I'm a
great.
meditation teacher. So I'm like, what's written in a universe, it will always get up, to the surface on the end, even 20,
Right.
30 years later. So that's always, for me, that's like, that was sign back then. And even we couldn't go, we still pursue because that interest, that calling was deep inside of us. So
Right, right. Like they say, never underestimate the power of planting a seed. That seed will grow over the years.
yes.
So yes, yes,
So
yes.
you wanted to talk a little bit about metaphysical concepts. Can we
Yes,
touch a little bit more about that? Can you explain it for us? What
yes.
is
Well, so
metaphysics? I
sure.
don't know if you're referring to Plato's or we going about different direction. Tell us a little bit more.
Well, let's talk a little bit about energy. Metaphysics is really the unseen. Some of us have developed a sixth sense beside our normal five senses, our sixth sense of being able to feel energy. And that goes along with the Reiki practice that I do because you're very in tune with the energy that comes off of people's bodies. So there's a lot of metaphysical concepts that we could discuss, but I think the energy is probably a good one. You've already mentioned energy a few times since we've been speaking. So, when you walk into a room, and sometimes you can sense if there was an argument that happened in there, or the people are very tense, or you can sense that they're very welcoming when you walk into the room. So, why is that? What is that? We're all emitting some little vibrations that we can pick up if we're in tune with it. And so I think the more we meditate, the more we go within, the more we calm ourselves, the more we quiet the mind, the more in tune we are with those subtle energies and those unseen forces that are around us all the time.
Yeah,
So,
I I could not agree more. And I'm sorry I get into your word, but like when I start sensing my body and my energy, there was a moment that I was literally afraid of it. Why I'm sensing so much?
hmm
Do you have any advice for that? You know what I mean? It's like how to get in peace because I remember, that was like a few years ago, but I start judging it. Why? Or the question was even I meditate for years, but it still gets so a little scary, and it's like, what has happened? If there's something wrong with me, why I'm feeling that?
I think it's perfectly wonderful and beautiful, but it can be scary. I've heard other people say that before too. particularly if you're not surrounded by a supportive group of people. Like, say, maybe you wouldn't be able to explain that well to your mom because she might not get it, or sometimes I think we hesitate to tell our children things like that as well because we don't want to influence their thought patterns. But just embrace it. It's a wonderful gift, and don't always have to verbalize it. The things that we pick up. I mean, we don't always have to verbalize it. We can just notice it within ourselves and make our own assessment of the situation. Now, that takes some restraint and some practice, obviously.
Mhm.
And I'm not perfect by any means. Sometimes I say too much and overshare too much as well. But interestingly enough, I do have one friend who's very clairvoyant and very psychic. And people ask her all the time, "What's going to happen? What should I do?" They ask her for advice. And then quite often they ignore her advice. And she gets very frustrated. But over the years, she's learned sometimes they're going to ignore my advice. So I think we do that to ourselves as well. We sense something and then we right away back up and go, no, 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 that couldn't be. We kind of deny it within ourselves. And I think that's when we step into our own power, when we really become more confident in who we are, when we know ourselves better, we won't doubt those subtle messages and those subtle energies that come in. We'll just listen to them and go, okay, I hear you. For me, I
Mhm.
hear the messages most of the time. So,
Another question what I have about, which is highly related to metaphysics, and many people ask me, and I have experience as well, and I want to know your opinion. They call
mhm.
those energy vampires, and I think mentioned a little bit in the last episode, like
Mm,
I can go in a grocery store. I don't know that person. They just walking by, and sometimes it don't happen lately, but that
mhm.
was around the same time. I was scared of my energy and what I feel. Literally, I feel like oh, that
Wow.
my energy was just, so I learn, and that's what I'm telling my clients. I learn to kind of build protective bubble around me, to protect my energy and just give it little by little. But I have these questions asked all the time. What's your advice about, people sharing energy? Because we do, even we want it or not, it require a lot of practice to kind of hold our energy in, because I think it's natural for energy to be exchanged, and it's your advice how to keep it within us, or how to control when we share it or when not, or when we taking somebody else energy in as well.
Yes, I think we have to be mindful of those things, and I like what you said about the bubble. Um, I travel a lot between here and California because I have my grandchildren there, and my son and my daughter-in-law there. And it's a long drive. It's about a 7-hour drive. So my practice with my energy work and with my Reiki is that I actually surround my entire car in a protective bubble. And I use my hands and I actually do it. And there's certain things that I say and certain vibrations that I put out to protect myself during that drive. And so far, it's really worked. There was one day when I was driving, and it's only 2 lanes on this one freeway. And this car, I was in the fast lane, and everyone goes quite fast there because you're going through the desert. There's no
Restriction,
civilization
yeah.
whatsoever. It's very desolate. And so I was going quite fast, but everyone was. And this car just came over and started to come right into my lane. And I laid on my horn so loud. But the funny thing was, my first reaction was, shields up. Like immediately I put my hand and he kept coming, but I had enough room to go over and, I safely maneuvered past him. But it was just like an instinct. I just was like, "Shields up." It was almost like a Star Trek episode, and it just kind of
Yes.
repelled him enough that I could get around him. But that type of practice, we certainly can use on our own bodies as well. The Native American people did smudging and saging as a way of cleansing and protecting. So that's one way of practicing to clean your aura and to protect yourself. The other way is just to visualize the bubble, as you said, send golden light to protect yourself. Now, it's not always easy to do that because we're spontaneous beings, right? We jump from place to place and sometimes we forget to protect ourselves. But if you know that you're going into a place where you've had somewhat scary experiences before, or for whatever reason, a lot of people don't like Walmart. So, Walmart, have you heard that before?
Yes.
A lot of people do not like Walmart. A lot of us spiritual, sensitive people do not like Walmart. So you can do that to protect yourself before you go in there. And actually, I have seen a couple of quite crazy incidents at Walmart. So I think it's a good idea to protect yourself before you go in there. Um, but they do have good prices. So, once in a while, I still shop there. But the thing is, in general, I think it's just important to try to surround yourself with people who are supportive and who lift you up and who want you to succeed. And then it's not quite as urgent to protect your energy. Then we can focus more on the sharing aspect. Like I'm sure you've noticed when you do live group meditations, it's a completely different experience than when you meditate in your home, in your room by yourself
Oh, yes. Hmm.
because of all that sharing that goes on. And so sometimes when I'm in a place where the people are more advanced meditators, I will actually instruct them to to feel that they're sharing the energy, to join their energy, to join all of our energies together, the 5 or 10 of us that are there, to consciously work to connect and let those energies come together. And then suddenly you see people's faces just start smiling, even though, their eyes are closed or whatever. And as we mingle, you can feel it.
Yeah.
I can feel it. And it's really wonderful. Um, and sometimes you can also, by doing that, you can also lift people up,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, because I don't want to take too much of your time, and I really appreciate it. I love the smudging. I have white sage all the time in home,
Yes.
and when I just feel the energy is going, or I have somebody who I literally feel brought that energy, and it's something. It feels like something is not aligned. It's just like my body start, jumping inside. It's
Yeah.
like I'm smudging all my house and my kids' rooms, and you should see me. But yeah, and it works. It
Hmm.
literally works. I know somebody put a post on Facebook about smudging. Like I don't remember. I even reposted because it was so hilarious. It's like if you don't like me smudging, or if you don't like me, using my sage, that's mean you shouldn't be welcome in my house or something like that, because honestly, it's all about, cleaning that energy. And I also use the plants that clean energy, creates a clean energy in a house. And so it's a lot of ways. So I'm really happy you mentioned that to us. Exactly. And thank you so much,
Thank
Laura. And I
you.
really, really appreciate you find the time to join me today.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.